NASA recently released more data on climate science, and what they're finding is that what we previously knew about climate science is actually not as bad as what the reality is. So, according to the researchers, NASA said that records of temperature that go back farther than the 1980s, taken via analysis of ice cores and sediments, suggest that the warming of recent decades is out of step with any period over the past millennium. In the last 30 years, we've really moved into exceptional territory. It's unprecedented in 1,000 years. There's no period that has the trend seen in the 20th century in terms of the inclination of temperatures. So what the scientists are trying to say here is, look, the Earth is actually warming a lot quicker than we had expected. And we need to do something drastic right now, or else we're going to suffer some serious ramifications, okay? So there are already some island nations that are expected to be underwater in the coming decades, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse. Maintaining temperatures below the 1.5 degrees Celsius guardrail requires significant and very rapid cuts in carbon dioxide emissions or coordinated geoengineering. That is very unlikely. We're not even yet making emissions cuts commensurate with keeping warming below 2 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so let's break this down. If you thought the jury was out before on climate change, and a long time ago I was in that camp, well, there's been a lot of years since then, and the jury's in. The evidence is right here. So 2014 was the warmest year ever. Then 2015 was the warmest year ever. Now 2016 is going to be the warmest year ever. July was the warmest month in recorded history going back to 1880. And it was true of every month leading up to July since last October. So every month is the hottest month it's ever been. Every year is the hottest year it's ever been. And you look at the charts and you see the temperature going like this through the roof. And yet we're not doing, we're doing some things about it, the Paris Climate Treaty, et cetera. But the right wingers say, no, we shouldn't even do that. Donald Trump says he's going to tear that up the minute he gets into office if he does. So, as the scientists are telling you, we're not, under current circumstances, we're not doing nearly enough. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And the right wing in this country says, yeah, but the oil companies got to make an extra couple of bucks.
It's insane.
So I'm going to do propaganda. We endanger the entire planet, but, hey, my donors paid me an extra couple of dollars. And so they're going to rip up what little policies that we're doing in this regard.
It's crazy.
It's almost literally a crime against humanity.
So let me emphasize again that what we're currently doing right now in cutting emissions is clearly not enough, right? And the research also found that just 5 more years of carbon dioxide emissions at current levels, even considering what we're doing now, will virtually wipe out any chance of restraining temperatures to a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase and avoid runaway climate change.
So at the end of the article, they explain that, and this summarizes all the different scientists' conclusions that they're now putting out. There's people like the director of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies that they quote, that Anna read to you, and at the end explain that the polar ice caps are melting. And so the ones that are on land, once they melt, they go into the water, which then obviously raises the level of the water. And that could raise ocean water by about 70 feet, okay? And it could lead to what is known as Earth's 6th mass extinction of animal species. Now, let's understand the different things that Americans are scared of and their politicians demagogue about. One is, oh my God, the refugees are coming in. Earlier today, I did a story about how we have let in, since 9/11, 800,000 refugees from war-torn places like Iraq, Syria, et cetera. Of those, only 3 have ever committed anything close to terrorism. 2 had planned for something not in the U.S., but outside of the U.S., and 1 was considered a barely credible threat. Now, 3 out of 800,000 is a minuscule percentage. But everybody's freaking out and having a giant national debate about the refugees. Oh my God, what a threat, what a threat. In reality, your next door neighbor, in fact, somebody in your family shooting you is a much higher percentage chance than 3 out of 800,000, okay? Now, on the other hand, we have what might be a mass extinction event.
Yep.
It is overwhelmingly proved by almost every scientist in the world. And people go, what problem? I don't see a problem. There's no problem.
I know, it's insane. And look, it goes beyond, countries going underwater or extreme weather conditions. Those are already terrible as it is. But for all those living on land that won't end up underwater in the next century, you have to worry about the lack of resources because we won't live in a world that can grow the plants and the vegetables and the fruit and the agriculture that we need. That's going to lead to serious war.
It's not, NASA is freaking out about this, but they're not the only government agency. There's one other government entity that's flipping out over it. It's the United States military. They're planning for what we're going to do when the wars come because of climate change. I don't think there are a bunch of liberals in the U.S. military that are looking at this and going, oh, let's lib out and figure out what we're going to do here. No, they're planning because they can see, hey, wherever there are droughts, it displaces people. When you displace people, it forces them into new areas, which then creates conflict, which leads to war, as one example of many. Yeah. So that is already, that's not a thing 100 years from now. That's already happening all across the globe. And it's only going to get worse and worse. And we're here discussing irrelevant topics about whether we should be humane to 10,000 refugees that are coming in, as an example. And lastly, the right-wingers say, no, 97% of the world's scientists all across the world got together and decided to do a global conspiracy because they might get some extra dollars out of research grants. And this conspiracy was hatched, but in all the different countries, in India, in Russia, in the US, in Brazil, in the Netherlands. They all agreed, all the world's scientists, but some of those scientists don't get research grants. They have nothing to do with research grants. They don't live under US law. They live under a completely different situation. Now, why do they say that? For two obvious reasons. One, they want to replace their propaganda that they get paid for from the people creating climate change that don't want you to fix it, that have a vested interest, billions of dollars at stake. They get paid to give you propaganda and make sure you ignore the facts. Secondly, they do projection, which is, well, what do? Well, we get paid to lie to people all the time. So we assume that if anyone is saying something else, they're also being paid to lie like we are as right-wingers. Like conservative talk show hosts, Fox News Channel, Republican politicians, they're all paid to lie to you, from oil companies and on down. So stop listening to their lies. All the scientists in the world didn't get together and decide to make this up. It is the most real thing there is. And it is actually the biggest threat we face. So wake up already and let's all do something together, because otherwise we're not going to fix it and we're going to be in literally a world of hurt.
If you thought I was fiery in this video, wait till you see how I get in the postgame show. Become a member and watch our members-only postgame show at tytnetwork.com/join.